Hello, my name is Taylor. Welcome to my channel where I love to talk about clean and Christian fiction, and today I want to talk about my top favorite books of 2025. I read 51 books in the year of 2025, and I wanted to share with you my top 10. But I had some honorable mentions that were really close to reaching that mark, and I still really wanted to talk about them because they are some of my favorites as well. So I have 5 honorable mentions. So 15 books total that were my absolute top favorites of 2025. I'll start with the honorable mentions first, of course, and then I will work my way up from 10 to my number 1. I just really think it's fun to count down. Just in general, I think a countdown just kind of naturally builds your anticipation, and I just think it's more fun to do it this way. So that's what we're going to do. So the first book in the honorable mentions section is a middle grade book, and that is Ogre Enchanted by Gail Carson Levine. And this one is the prequel to Ella Enchanted. Ella Enchanted is one of my absolute favorite middle grade books ever. It was my favorite book. Well, it was closely tied with The Two Princesses of Bamarre, which is also by Gail Carson Levine. But those were two of my favorites. And this one came out a couple of years ago. So I was kind of apprehensive. I didn't want it to ruin my viewpoint of Ella Enchanted. So I was kind of cautious, and then I saw some friends read it and they really enjoyed it. So I gave it a chance and I read the audiobook. This also made my top favorite audiobooks for 2025 video. If you haven't seen that, go and check it out. I'll try to remember to link it in the description box. But this story is just so fun. I found myself kind of chuckling a little bit out loud with this, but it's about a young woman who doesn't want to get married, but her best friend really likes her, and he proposes marriage to her, and there just so happens to be a meddlesome fairy, if you know from Ella Enchanted. She happens to be nearby, and she is astounded that someone would shun this poor man and deny his love for her, even though he's just a friend. He's kind of like, oh, let's just get married, and she's like, no. And the fairy is just dumbfounded by this and curses her to be an ogre. And she's trying to break the curse while fighting her ogre instincts, and it just made me laugh. So I really enjoyed this. If you like Ella Enchanted, this is definitely worth your time. If you've never read Ella Enchanted, please do. It is so fun. I love it. If you love fairy tale retellings, I think that's when the OGs that set it off for me. I would definitely recommend reading them in chronological order, not necessarily publication order. I think you'll get more out of the Ella Enchanted story if you do start off with this one. But yeah, I do also, like I said, really, really recommend the audiobook. I just think it made the experience so much better. Next on this list is a classic. It's a children's classic, and that is The Secret Garden by Frances Hodgson Burnett. I read this for middle grade March, and I very loosely participated in that readathon. I wasn't on BookTube at the time because I was on maternity leave. I had a 1-month-old. So I did participate, but I didn't log it on here. But anyways, I have never read The Secret Garden until this year, and I'd always wanted to, and that was just the perfect opportunity. It was the buddy read book, and I was like, let's go for it. Let's go all in with the middle grade March. And yeah, I really, really enjoyed it. I really loved I think it's the 90s version of the movie with Maggie Smith. And this I could see the movie playing in my head, basically, when I was reading this book. And this is definitely the perfect book to read in spring. It has all the descriptions of the garden, and it's just very whimsical feeling to me, very nostalgic to me because I'd seen the movie so much. And it has a sweet underlying theme of found family and just, being there for each other, the nature aspect of it as well. And by the way, this edition is absolutely so pretty. It has little artworks in it that are mostly black and white. The cover is especially stunning to me, but I really recommend that you get this from Amazon if you run across it. I think it was like $10 off of Amazon. I was like, what? I have to have that. I have to own it for my collection, and this edition is so cute. It is illustrated by Tasha Tudor, so if you know that name, she has some excellent illustrations, and I really need to see if she illustrated any other classics, because I would love to own more illustrated classic books by her. So let me know if you know of any. The Lockett's Revenge by Ellie Richmond. This one is the second book in a duology. This one made the list because I liked it more than book one. It is about Lachlan. She is a descendant of the original Little Mermaid. There is a curse where some people in her family have human appearing legs. They don't have a tail, they have legs, they have like webbed feet. But that makes them kind of outcasts of society. They are treated very poorly. And she has a niece that is just born who also has human looking legs. And so she does not want that future for her niece, and she goes out to investigate if there is a way to break the curse. I did talk about this one as well in my favorite audiobooks video, but yeah, this one is full of plot twists, let me tell you. I was in for a ride, me and my buddy readers. So I buddy read this with Celestia and Cat Stories, and we all really enjoyed it. A Study in Scarlet by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle. This one is the first book in the Sherlock Holmes mystery series. I had read The Hound of the Baskervilles last year and really, really enjoyed it. So I have a goal to read all of the Sherlock Holmes books in order, and this is book one, where Watson and Sherlock meet for the first time, and I just had a really fun time reading this with Alma. She and I both really enjoyed it. The last book in my honorable mention section is The Tides of Time by Sarah M. Eden. This one is about Lily. She is living in the time of the French Revolution, and she is fleeing France to go to England. She's on her way there when a storm hits, and she is cast overboard, and when she pops back up from the ocean, it is bright and sunny, and she is not where she was when she went to the water. She is in England, and a lighthouse keeper fishes her out of the ocean, and there's a love story, and she is trying to navigate what it's like living in the late 1800s. So years in the future for her, still in the past for us. I just found that concept very interesting. I've always seen time travel stories either be someone from the future goes to the past, or someone from the past goes to current times, our times. And so I've never had a story where someone from the past goes forward in their time but still our past. I just found that so interesting how she responded to some of their technological advances where I had no idea what those things were, and I had to figure out what it was, and like, oh, okay, I didn't know that even existed. That's like a precursor to our oven, you know, that type of thing. So it was really just full of historical elements too that were really fun. Number 10 is The Serendipity by Emma St. Clair. It is the first book in the Only Magic in the Building series. I saw this series for the first time on Instagram. The covers really drew me in because it's my favorite color. It's like pretty blue. And then the premise, because it is about a matchmaking apartment building. And I just really found that so fun and fascinating that you have something magical placed into the real world. You know, it's kind of a light, low-key, magical object that has matchmaking abilities and just creates all kinds of good fun. And this particular one is about Archer and Willa. And Willa is a longtime resident at the apartment building. She's a baker, and she opens her closet and finds a man inside her closet who is the new owner of the building. He just purchased it and has plans to make upgrades, and the apartment building isn't too happy about that, and so it does its matchmaking thing. And I just really enjoyed it. The antics between the billionaire and the baker were just so fun, and the whimsical nature of the building itself, like flinging them from closet to closet, is just, that just really took the cake for me. I really enjoyed that one. It was really fun. Number 9 is A River Between Us by Jocelyn Green. This is about Cora May. She lives in Georgia in the time of the Civil War. She is just trying to make ends meet. She's pretty poor, and she has employment through a mill that supplies the fabric to the Confederates. And the Yankees come through and burn the mill to the ground and take the women workers into custody and basically ship them out from the South so that they cannot benefit the South anymore. And she is placed into the custody of a Union soldier. There's a little bit of forbidden romance going on there. She is also the unofficial mother to a young girl who is motherless. And so you also have that almost single mother component in there. There's a child in here, which I know a lot of people love to read as well. Ironically, I just found a little bit of similarity to Cora May because she's from the South and she gets possibly shipped up to Indiana, which is where I'm at right now. So I really enjoyed that part of it too. And it's relatively short. There's a good audiobook, and yeah. Number 8 is The Secrets in the Mist by Morgan L. Busse. This is kind of like a zombie type story because there is a mist that exists in this world where it has spores in the mist. And if you inhale the mist, then you turn into a zombie. And the mist is slowly creeping up to other parts of the population. The population has just kind of been rising higher and higher. There's some really rich people that live in the clouds. And yeah, so the mist is coming for people, and there's a special secret mission. There's a romance. It has steampunk elements. This is just a nice mix of some of my buzzwords, and I just had a really fun time reading this. Number 7 is The Midnight Blizzard by Mary Meekum. This is technically a Christmas book as part of the Christmas Chronicles multi-author series. The most Christmassy thing about it, though, is it has Easter eggs for the 12 days of Christmas, so it's just kind of fun to figure those out. I don't think I even got all 12 of them, so I'm going to have to reread this one day and try and find all 12. This is a Cinderella and Jack Frost mashup. Number 6 is Amber Gold by Rochelle Nelson. This one is published by Enclave, so it is a Christian fantasy story. And this one is about Gilday. She has always been taught to believe that dragons are coming for her father and her, but one day her father tells her that they have a weapon that they can use against the dragon, and let's go kill the dragon. And they go to the dragon, she's taken by the dragon, and things ensue from there. I think the less you know with this one, the better. Rochelle Nelson is just really good at kind of keeping you guessing and you really not knowing what you're reading because she has very unique stories. She has one other book that I've also read, Sky of Seven Colors, and I had no idea what to expect, as well as with this one. This one had a very intense climax scene, and I was riveted, okay? It was it was pretty intense. Number 5, I have Ties of Legacy by Melanie Sellier. This is a pretty new release. I think it came out last year. I'm pretty sure it did, or the year before. I can't remember, but it's a fairly new release. It's set in a world where there are legacies. Legacies are where there was an original fairy tale where obviously some kind of curse was broken. For example, Beauty and the Beast curse was broken, but there are ripple effects that happen in the future where the curse is still trying to set up the original fairy tale. And there are regions of this world, different kingdoms. There's like the Glass Kingdom where the Cinderella stuff happened. There's the Beauty and the Beast kingdom, that type of thing. And in these kingdoms where you are born, you feel the effects of the curse, like I said, and you're kind of tied to that kingdom. So if you move and get out of your kingdom, then you start to feel the ill effects of the curse. For example, there is a character in book 1. This is not book 1. This is the 0.5. The book that happens before book 1. There's a character that is from the Sleeping Beauty kingdom, and she's living in a different kingdom, and she just sleeps all the time. She can't help it. She just falls asleep all the time. And so that's why, because she's not in her actual kingdom. And this particular story, Ties of Legacy, the male main character is not tied to a specific kingdom, but he is tied to an object. And that object is stolen. He will die without that object. So he is in search of that object, and he meets this female peddler, and they kind of have to join forces. If you like road trips, but more of like a fantastical road trip romance, this is the book for you. At number 4 is Legacy of Roses by Melanie Sellier. This is book 1. So this one is the Beauty and the Beast story. The female main character is very similar to Belle, so the curse is trying to put her with the Beast type character, and she ain't having it. And it's just really fun and nostalgic for a Beauty and the Beast lover to see the story in a slightly different light. Number 3 is A Brilliant Night of Stars and Ice by Rebecca Connelly. This one is a historical novel set around the sinking of the Titanic. And I am someone who was influenced by the Titanic movie and am very fascinated by anything Titanic. In April, I like to read Titanic type things and kind of like a remembrance for it. And so this is the most unique and best Titanic book I've ever read. And I would say, even if you aren't a huge fan of Titanic, I think this was just so well written. I think you would probably still enjoy it if you like historical fiction. This one has dual perspectives of a Titanic passenger and the captain of the Carpathia, which is the ship that rescues the Titanic. And I did not realize how dangerous it was for the Carpathia and any kind of rescue efforts to happen. I did not fully realize that, because you always hear about the sinking of the Titanic and obviously how horrible it was, such a great loss of life. But the rescue efforts, there was so much that went into that, and some really truly bravery. And this is one of those things where it's a fictionalized story, but a lot of it is based on fact. And so I really learned a lot from this story. There is a cuss word in this one, so just be aware that that's in there. But I think that probably something like that would have been uttered in the events that were happening. I just learned a lot from it, and it was so engaging in the way it was written. Number 2, I have Rapunzel's Gambit by Mary Mika. Rapunzel is just such a diabolical, fun character to read. She is the daughter of a very greedy king, and she decides to fake her own kidnapping and go and make a deal with a dragon to play ransom and have the rich knights try to come and rescue her, but they end up capturing and ransoming the knights instead, and so she uses that money to help out her kingdom. And this book is just full of great banter. There's a dragon. Obviously, I'm sold just by that fact, but some of the best banter I've ever read. If you love fairy tale retellings, this one has got to be at the top of your list. Please read it. At number 1, my favorite book for 2025 is Ties of Starlight by Celeste Baxendale. I absolutely was sucked in. I could not put it down. It is absolutely fangirl worthy to a romantasy reader. It is clean. It's not Christian, but it's clean. And I don't know what it was, but it reminded me so much of the era of my reading where I was just absolutely invested in fangirling over like the Hunger Games and Twilight. That level of excitement over a book I have not felt in such a long time. And I really felt it with this book. I don't know what it was. It just hit all the right things for me. And it is one of my absolute favorite books of all time. I'm going to have to get it in hard copy one day, but I don't have it yet. This one is a marriage of convenience story. There is a half human, half elf woman that is chosen to be married to an elf. And this marriage ceremony is very important to the elves because if they do things right, there's several steps to this marriage ceremony time where if they don't get it right, then their people lose magic. But if they do, then they are set. They have their magic solidified for like the next 200 years or something. So there's a lot of pressure. And the elf has been secretly in love with this girl for a long time, but she hates him. And so there's a little bit of enemies to lovers type thing going on there. If you like romantasy, elves, marriage of convenience, enemies to lovers, quests, journeys, I would highly, highly, highly recommend. Thank you so much for watching this video. Let me know what your favorite book of 2025 was so I can add it to my TBR. And if not, leave me a book stack emoji. I really, truly appreciate y'all's support so much. And yeah, I hope you have a wonderful, blessed day. Bye, y'all.